the air of compassion. The sun shone down on the grand estate of Adrian Vance, a self-made billionaire who had built his empire from the dust of his impoverished childhood. The world saw a man with everything: immense wealth, power, a beautiful mansion, and an enchanting fiancée who was the envy of many. Yet, fate has a cruel way of stripping away illusions. On an unexpected morning, Adrian returned home early, walking quietly through the marble halls of his estate, only to witness a sight so horrible, so heart-shattering, that it froze his blood cold. His beloved fiancée, the woman he believed to be his future, was raising her foot in a fit of rage and kicking none other than his elderly mother, who stood frail and trembling with her walking cane, unable to defend herself. In that one moment, the veil was torn from everything Adrian thought he knew about love, loyalty, and trust. Before I unfold the rest of this tragic yet powerful journey, let me pause for a moment. If you believe that true love is measured by kindness and second chances, not by wealth or appearances, then please take a second to like, share, and comment on this story. Your support helps spread more tales that remind the world of what truly matters. Adrian had always been a man of deep values, even while immersed in success. His mother, Elara, had been the foundation of his life. She had raised him single-handedly after his father abandoned them, working 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. Through years of sacrifice, she never let her son feel poor in spirit, even when they were poor in their pockets. When Adrian built his fortune later, buying sprawling estates and luxury cars, he made sure his mother had everything she deserved: comfort, dignity, and love. But Adrian also yearned for a family of his own. That's when he met Cassandra, a woman of remarkable beauty, refined taste, and a charisma that could light up a room. She seemed gentle, attentive, and perfectly attuned to the role of a billionaire's partner. Elara accepted her at first, though her heart often sensed a shadow lurking in Cassandra's smile. In truth, Cassandra had grown up craving wealth and status above all else. Her attraction to Adrian was not rooted in love, but in the life he could provide. While she charmed Adrian, she grew cold toward his mother, seeing her as an obstacle, an inconvenience, a reminder that the fortune she sought came with family obligations she had no patience for. When Adrian was around, Cassandra played the perfect role of a loving fiancée. But when he left for business or disappeared into long meetings, Elara would find herself at the mercy of Cassandra's cruelties. She would belittle her, hide her medicines, and mock her with cutting remarks. Still, Elara never complained, for her greatest fear was burdening her son with pain or making him choose between them. She bore the cruelty in silence, hoping love would, one day, soften Cassandra's heart. But on that fateful morning, Adrian cancelled his business trip early. He wanted to surprise his mother with her favorite flowers and spend a quiet afternoon with her, away from the constant rush of his corporate world. As he entered the estate, he walked softly through the hallway, following the weary sound of raised voices. When he turned the corner by the grand staircase, his heart stopped. There stood Cassandra, her eyes burning with anger, her foot poised to strike Elara, who had stumbled with her walking stick, nearly losing her balance. And then came the words, "You're a sharp and venomous burden on this house. Why don't you just disappear already?" The bouquet of flowers slipped from Adrian's hands. In one instant, every pretense shattered. His fiancée, the woman he had once believed to be his forever, had revealed her true self. His world tilted, and a storm brewed within him. He rushed forward, his voice trembling with fury, his eyes burning with betrayal. Cassandra's gasp, her face draining of color, was a sign that she had been caught in her own cruelty. Elara's eyes filled with tears, not for herself, but for her son, who now stood on the brink of heartbreak. The days that followed were some of the hardest in Adrian's life. He ended the engagement immediately, heartbroken but resolute. Cassandra, desperate not to lose the life she had clung to, tried to plead, to cry, to justify her actions. But Adrian's decision was final. His mother's dignity was not for sale. The news of the broken engagement spread like wildfire, a whisper among all who had admired their charming relationship. Many couldn't believe the story of a couple who had fallen apart so suddenly. But Adrian knew that beneath the polished surfaces, true character is revealed not in public, but in how we treat the vulnerable. Adrian devoted himself to his mother after that day, determined to heal the wounds she had suffered in silence. He truly changed his entire lifestyle, spending more time at home, making sure she felt cherished every day. They would sit together on the veranda at sunrise, sipping tea and sharing memories of simpler times. He realized how much he had neglected her while chasing success, how often he had left her alone with the very person who would hurt her. Guilt weighed on him, but she, ever gentle, forgave him. "You came back to me," she whispered one evening, her eyes full of love. "That's enough for me." But Adrian's story didn't end in heartbreak. In the months that followed, he began to see life with clearer eyes. His empire no longer held meaning if it wasn't built on humanity, respect, and true love. He grew closer to his employees, ensuring their families were supported. He gave generously to elderly care homes, dedicating his wealth to helping those who had no one to defend them. His mother became his partner in these endeavors, her wisdom guiding his steps. Slowly, Adrian's heart healed, and though the scars of the betrayal remained, they became a reminder of the lesson he had learned. Wealth can buy many things, but it cannot disguise cruelty, and it is no substitute for true love. As for Cassandra, her world crumbled without Adrian's fortune to sustain her. She had gambled her future on greed and lost everything in the process. The world she had coveted cast her aside, and she became a shadow of the charming figure she once was. Meanwhile, Adrian thrived, not in wealth alone, but in the richness of love and respect that surrounded him. This story reminds us of something simple yet profound. Compassion is the true measure of worth. Beauty fades, money fluctuates, but how we treat others, especially the most vulnerable, defines who we are at our core. Adrian's life took a painful turn that day, but it led him to what truly matters: his mother's love, the very foundation of his being. And through his pain, he became not just a billionaire in wealth, but a billionaire in heart. If this story has touched your heart and reminds you of the importance of kindness and family, I ask you from the bottom of my heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Compassion Corner. Every click helps spread more stories that inspire compassion and second chances. Before we end, I'd love to hear from you. Would you have forgiven Cassandra if you were in Adrian's place? Or do you believe a betrayal like this leaves no room for redemption? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Your words matter and can inspire others. Adrian's journey stands as a beacon for all of us. In a world obsessed with appearances, let us not forget that true wealth is measured not by what we have, but by how we love. And in the end, the greatest gift we can give is grace. It is grace that leaves a legacy that no fortune can ever buy.